What up, G Life? It's your boy MC Shadow back at you with another video. Make sure you guys like, make sure you guys comment, make sure you subscribe to the channel and share if possible because it does help my channel. Make sure you click on that subscribe. It don't cost anything. It's free. You just gotta tap on it. Bam! You'll be doing the channel a big favor. You know what I mean? Helps me get thrown into the algorithm. Just gotta tap on it really quick right now. You know what I mean? It's free. It don't cost nothing. Now, what I wanted to talk about was actually something that I had seen on another channel, right? Discussing about this matter. And they made some valid points, you know what I mean, to what they were saying. It's a channel, AWS, Active War Stories. If you guys are into the streets and stuff like that, you guys can go peep out that channel. You know, he talks about the street, you know what I mean? He's a northerner, obviously, so from Northern Cali, you know, perspective, views on matters, you know what I mean? So, you know, for those who are interested in, you know, street stuff, you could go subscribe to that channel. Now, he had said how about the hypocrisy, right, of homeboys, because how they talk, how Nortenos talk, you know what I mean, how they use the N-word and etc. And he showed a clip of, you know, southern homies using the N-word and talking the very exact same way. But then you have homies that are saying, oh, you guys are like trying to be like, you know, blacks and blah blah blah, you know what I mean? You know, like clowning on them for that when their homies are doing the exact same thing, which is true. The way I see it, I believe that nobody should say the N-word just because that word was created to make these people, you know, to dehumanize these people, right? To make them, you know, less than human. I believe nobody should say the word. I don't say the word. I have never used the word. I believe nobody, not even blacks, should say it. Because that word, even though, you know, they chose to flip it on them, you know, because it was an insult. Nonetheless, the word was created to dehumanize these people because, you know, older black people don't like when even they say it, you know what I mean? Because they know what that word means. So they take offense to it, you know what I mean? It's, you know, it's an offensive term. Me, I don't get offended when the homies say it. I know what they mean. I understand, you know, the way I see it. You know, homies shouldn't say it, but I don't get bothered that they do say it. You know, it is what it is. You know, that's the way they were raised. You know what I'm saying? I know when they're calling me that. I know what they mean. It's kind of like saying, like, what up, my boy, or what up, carnal, or perro, or whatever. You know, I mean, you don't get offended when they call you perro. You don't get offended when they call you, you know, the N-word or whatever. You know, people that take, like, high offense to that is because they're taking high offense of being, you know, being called black, showing that they have some form of animosity towards black people or some type of view towards blacks. In my personal opinion, you know what I mean? They could maybe try to say otherwise, but in my personal opinion, that's how I take it. They're taking high offense to it because they have a problem with blacks. Which doesn't make any sense because, you know, most of our ancestry blood, you know, does come from you know, from them. You know what I mean? You know, when the slaves came over here, and, you know, ever wonder what happened to the rest of the percentage of the slaves that didn't get sent to the Americans? You know what I mean? They got, you know, all over Latin America, bro. So, I mean, that's all true. It's sad that there's a lot of people that don't even know our history of our raza. You know what I mean? Like, you're gonna have, you know, most likely you're gonna have, you know, black DNA in you, bro. I mean, the second president of Mexico, hello. Like, does anybody not know the history? It's sad, bro. A lot of people talk about raza, but they don't understand, like, the history. It's crazy. I didn't realize that not that many people didn't know the history, like, of our people. It's actually quite shocking because a lot of people always talk about brown pride and this and that, but they don't really know a lot about our culture. It's a trip. You know, most of, you know, Latin America. But anywho, that's a different topic for a different video. Anywho, you know, showing, you know, that they have a, you know, problem with, you know, blacks. So I don't get offended. You know, I have homies that say it and stuff like that. Look, the way I see it is a homie doesn't have a way of dressing or talking or none of that, right? People sometimes get the Chicano culture mixed up with the Sureño culture. You know, because the Dickies, Cortezes, and all of that, you know, like that style, you know, the Chicano culture, right? It's the Chicano culture that the Sureños adopted, right? They adopted their estilo. But just because of that doesn't make them Sureños. They could just be Chicanos, you know what I mean? People that like just like low riding and like oldies and, you know, the Chicano culture. that they created for themselves because when they first, right here, when the first, batch of because Chicano, right? Chicano is when you're born here, right? Your family comes from Mexico, you're born here, right? So you don't fit in with the Americans and you don't fit in with the Hispanics, right? So you're just like this outcast, right? Stuck in between worlds, right? Because these people don't consider you Mexican and these people don't consider you American, so you're kind of just this oddball, right? So they created, their own type of lingo and fashion and kind of like the music that they like hearing and stuff like that, right? So then the gangs adopted that, right? Because all of this stuff was starting roughly around the same time, right? Because they were getting mistreated, they banded together, you right? So a lot of this stuff was, was rolling together. So they just adopted that, that stilo, right? Because it was part of like what was trending for them at the time, right? So, a lot of people get that confused, but that's Chicano culture, just not, because they dress like that doesn't mean that they're gang members, you know what I mean? Not every Chicano's a gang member and not every gang member is a Chicano. So when people be like, oh, well, they dress like Sureños, well, they're not really just like Sureños, they're just like Chicanos. You get what I'm saying? Because that's why even Norteños were dressed like that, and, and all of that, you know what I'm saying? As a matter of fact, if you look at just gangbanging in general, all groups start dressed like that in the beginning. From blacks to Asians to white, and then everyone just started adopting their own identities as time kept going, and just the Sureños just kept stuck with the same one, while everyone else was just looking for different, evolving as they go, I guess you could say, to separate them, I guess you could probably say, you know what I mean? So so when they say like, oh, they just like Sureños, well, they're not really Sureños, you know what I mean? Or when they're like, oh, well, these fools ain't real, right? Because they dress like blacks or whatever, like how they talk about like the gang members, that are raza, that are in Chicago, New York, or Texas and stuff like that, like the peso and stuff like that. Look, just because they dress like that and talk like that doesn't mean that they're not real raza, doesn't mean that they're not really about the business, doesn't really mean that. All of that shit is fucking ridiculous, bro. Just because they talk and look like that doesn't mean that they won't pelt your cat back, fool. None of, them putting in work, and none of that has to do with the way you talk or dress or none of that shit. It's about your heart and your balls. That's it. I've seen gang members in every style possible, from bald to long hair, 0 tattoos to 1,000,000 tattoos, long socks to short socks. I've seen them in every type of way possible. Bro, I have homies that look like paisas, that look like skaters. I have homies, in all type of possible ways. What really matters is as long as they have heart and balls, and when shit cracks, that they handle the business. That's what really matters, What good is having a fool all dressed, all banged out if he's gonna rank it, And what does it matter if a homie looks like a fucking skater with tight jeans if the enemy guys come through and this fool takes out the cannon and starts dumping? You know what I mean? All that shit's gonna be irrelevant, bro. As long as they putting in work, that's the only thing that's gonna fucking matter. You know what I mean? Throughout generations, the style changes, you know what I mean? That like gang members before, if you look at old gang pictures, a lot of them fools had hair, long hair. Sureños had long hair, bro. They even had the Mongolians with the tail and everything like that. Sureños had that before the Norteños had it, my boy. So to be insulting them because of their hairstyle, like, my boy, you're talking about your older homies were doing that shit before even they were doing it, bro. What are you talking about? No offense to the Norteños, but it's true. You know what I'm saying? And like, they're insulting them because they wear red. A lot of the Sureños wear red, bro. You know what I mean? And a lot of homies do say the N-word and stuff like that, A lot of the little homies right now. You want to know why the OGs don't tell them fools nothing? Because they know that these fools put in work and they're about their business. That's why it doesn't bother them all that much. I mean, it bothers them to an extent. That's why they don't tell their little homies anything. Because if their little homies are actually doing something, what can they tell them? Can't call them fake or anything like that if they're actually putting in work. You get what I'm saying? So the fact that they talk like that or dress like that is not going to change. It's not going to change the matter. You know what I mean? There's a lot of Norteños that are bald too, and Dickies and Cortezes, and then there's a lot of Sureños that have long hair and say the N-word, dog. That's how it is. If you really think about it, when you try to insult enemies, all these insults and all these things that people say, if you break it all down, it's all stupid to begin with, bro. A lot of these guys don't really think about the shit when they say, man, fuck taggers. Ain't nothing but some taggers. Fool, a majority of neighborhoods were tagging crews before they became barrios. A majority of your older homies were taggers before they got into the hood. A lot of clicas from barrios used to be tagging crews. You know what I mean? A lot of old homies that are even big camaradas in there belong to a tagging crew before. So what? You saying taggers are bitches? So what? They were bitches? At one point they were bitches. At one point they weren't down. At one point that barrio was they're all bitches. Or at one point the clica from your barrio were bitches since they were taggers before. That doesn't make any sense, bro. You know, so that tagger diss is never made any sense. Another one that never makes any sense. These vatos ain't posted. These vatos are never in their barrio, homie. These vatos are never posted, dog. My boy, you just told me that you were putting in work. So if these vatos ain't posted, who are you putting in work on, my boy? How are you earning your stripes and who are you putting in work on if these fools ain't posted? How you gangbanging if these vatos ain't there? So who you gangbanging on? How you earning your stripes, my boy? If you're saying that nobody's out there that's posted, but you're saying you gangbanging, my boy, and you putting in work on who? You just said there's nobody out there. So that doesn't make any sense. A lot of the stuff that people don't make sense. I get it. They want to diss the ops and everything like that. But don't go and lie because if you break it down, that shit's fucking retarded. You're spreading lies and your shit's not even making any sense. You know? So I understand, you know, from the point that like these fools are saying that they say the N-word and stuff like that. But when they're saying it too. You know what I mean? But same could be said for the Norteños. You know what I mean? Like when the Norteños say the upstate Sureños aren't real Sureños because how are you going to be a Sureño from upstate? You know what I mean? That doesn't make any sense. Okay. What about the Norteños that are in Texas or the Norteños that are in the East Coast or the Norteños that are in Arizona or the Norteños that are in these different parts of the United States? What? They're not real Norteños because they're not really from Northern California? Because how are you going to bang Norteños outside when you're not in the Norte, right? When they're actually real Norteños and dying for your guys' cause and you know, and your beliefs. But how are you going to say, because how are you saying that they're not real Sureños because they're not from down south? Or how are you going to be a Sureño banging that up here? How are you going to be a Norteño banging that over there? You get what I'm saying? It's the same shit. So by you telling them that, it's like saying, insulting every Norteño that's outside of Northern California that actually believe in the cause. You get what I mean? It doesn't make any sense when you really break it down. You get? I get it. You dislike the opposition, but all these stupid sayings that get said by both groups, it's retarded. It's retarded in general. I get it. You dislike them. Okay. All you really have to say is you don't like them or F them. You know what I mean? You don't have to go and make up all these different sayings and everything like that because it doesn't make any sense. Like, man, these fools ain't never posted, dog. Serio. Then who are you putting in work and how you earning your stripes, boy? You get what I mean? No gang member has a way of dressing and looking. So for fools to be, well, he don't look like no real gangster, or he's not raza because he says this and that. Like, stop, bro. You know what I mean? That's ridiculous. You know, obviously they're gonna be proud to be Hispanic. They're proud of the roots. It's just that this is the area in which they grew up. What is even trending? The reason why the N-word even gets said so much is because a lot of these celebrities and rappers say it. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, you know, what was trending. You know, all these kids are gonna want to pick up on it, right? Because to be a part of the trend. It's kind of like whatever hairstyle from this generation, you know, was the style that was, you know. You could tell from all the pictures that you look at the generations, you could tell what was in, like from the disco era to, you know, the hip hop era. You get what I'm saying? And these kids are gonna adopt that. You know what I'm saying? So same right now. That's why all these guys, you know, regardless of north, south, east coast, you know, whatever, you know, gang that or side that they're from, they all have similar hairstyles. They hear the similar type of music, and they dress similar because it's what's trending, and that's what they adopt. Kind of like before with the disco era and all of that, you know, their sets, you know, they're broken down into time, you know, periods, you know, that just evolves as it goes. It's been happening. Imagine when the first batch of gang members, you know, with the slick back hair and the pachuco style, they were seeing these fools with baggy clothes and bald and everything. They're probably like, hey, fool, buy pants that actually really fit you, you know, like probably like look at these fools dressed all like fucking Wango, and you know, you get what I'm saying? Like they're probably like clowning them because, you know, and these fools were used to oldies, and then these fools come with their rap, and it's like, man, turn that whack shit up. You get what I mean? Just like how it is nowadays, you know what I mean? Because it's a different eras, you know, meeting up. That's why it creates all this stuff. But in reality, you know, that's just, it is what it is. I mean, you get what I mean? That doesn't make them less raza or less, you know, down or any of that. Because if you really look at it, you know, us over here, that we're proud to be raza and we're Surenos and stuff like that. I mean, when we go to Mexico, they see us as fake Mexicans, my boy, because we weren't born over there and because we don't speak the Spanish fluently. You know what I'm saying? They don't see us like real Mexicanos because you weren't born there in the motherland. Ask any homie that's been deported, they'll tell you, you know, they get no love out there. They're seen as fake Mexicans. Even though we're over here saying that we're the real Mexicans and orgullo and everything, but these fools see you as bootleg ass fools. It is what it is, dog. You know, you get nowhere out of hating either way, regardless of what side you're coming from. It's all pointless and idiotic to begin with. But I'm just saying, my breakdown in my opinion on it, and shout out, we out.